Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. On this video tonight I am going to be giving you a preview for the Manchester United Istanbul Basaksehir game in the Champions League group stage. It is at Old Trafford and it kicks off at 8 o'clock Tuesday night. Now, we are looking to make it 3 wins in a row. We've won our last 2 games in a row. We recently beat West Brom by 1-0. And we beat Everton by 3-1. Now, Istanbul Basaksehir, they beat us in the first game by 2-1. Obviously, it was goals from Demba Ba and Edin Visca, and Antonio Martial had scored for us. And that was Istanbul Basaksehir's first ever win in the Champions League. And from a Manchester United perspective, that was an absolute embarrassment because Istanbul Basaksehir were formed in 1990. Now, they lost on Saturday against Basaksehir by 3-2, did Istanbul Basaksehir. Now, as you all know, their current manager is Okan Buruk. They've got quite a few players in their team that used to play in the Premier League. They've obviously got Rafael da Silva. He's a former Manchester United player. Rafael da Silva endured around 7 years with us and played around 170 games. They've also got Martin Skrtel. They've got Demba Ba. They've also got that Chadley that used to play in the Premier League. They've got a few injuries. I think they've got that Junior K. Carver out with injury. They've got Enzo Crivelli out. And they've got Miguel Vieira out. Edin Visca is one of their key players. I think he's endured around 9 or 10 years with Istanbul Basaksehir. And I think he's played like over 300 games in all competitions. But yeah, Manchester United should be winning this one. So far in the Champions League group stage, we've won 2 and we've lost 1. Obviously, we've beaten PSG 2-1 and we've beaten RB Leipzig 5-0. Now, I do believe in this game that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to make some changes from our 1-0 win against West Brom recently. Now, I want Donny van der Beek to start this game against Basaksehir. I think he will. He has started our last 2 games in the Champions League. Donny van der Beek has not yet made his full Premier League debut for the football club. He needs to get starts in the Premier League. Donny van der Beek did reveal, whilst he was on international break, that Solskjaer told him to wait and be patient for his opportunities. I think Solskjaer's been in the process of trying to find his best position because he can play in like 3 different roles. He can play as a box-to-box midfielder. He can play as the number 10. We started him in the number 10 against RB Leipzig. And he can also play out wide. You know, we paid £40 million for him from Ajax. He did come on against West Brom, but I actually wanted him to start against West Brom. He'll get more opportunities eventually. Now, Paul Pogba, he could start the game against Istanbul Basaksehir. Depends if he's available. Now, Paul Pogba's recently sustained an ankle injury, according to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. This is why Paul Pogba didn't play any part in the West Brom game. Solskjaer's hopeful though he will be available for the Basaksehir game. Now, we saw my video that I did earlier on today. I said Solskjaer faces the sack if he does not sort the Paul Pogba issue out fast. Now, prior to the West Brom game, Solskjaer was talking about Paul Pogba, saying that he believes he will improve and he's backing Paul Pogba because Solskjaer has had one-on-one talks with him. Now, Paul Pogba made quite a few comments recently saying playing for France is a breath of fresh air, and he said this season is the most difficult period in his career. And he was talking about his struggles at Man United this season. Pogba has lost his place in the team, and this is the main explanation why he's unhappy, and Solskjaer's confirmed that he is unhappy at the football club. Paul Pogba was unhappy when we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract earlier on in the season. So Pogba's under contract with the football club until June 2022. But there has been no talks over getting him a long-term contract at the football club. Now, Didier Deschamps, who is the France manager, he's been talking a lot about Paul Pogba recently. And he was saying like he understands Paul Pogba better than Solskjaer. He says Paul Pogba can obviously not be happy with his situation at Old Trafford for obviously being left on the bench and for playing out of position. Reflects on Paul Pogba's recent comments, he has received a lot of criticism. Now, he has had a long-running transfer saga, Paul Pogba. He's been relentlessly linked with a move to Real Madrid. Don't forget, earlier on this season, Pogba made an admission saying that one day his dream is to join Real Madrid. He said last year that he wanted to leave Man United because he was seeking for a new challenge. There's obviously been rumours of Paul Pogba going back to Juventus. PSG and Barcelona have been in for him before. I'm expecting him to leave the football club next year. We obviously want to cash in for him next summer. We don't want to let him go on a free transfer, but it said Pogba's intending on leaving the club on a free transfer. As it stands at the moment, he is our most expensive signing because we paid £89 million for him. Not only that, he's one of the highest paid players at the football club because he's on 290 grand a week. This is his 5th season though since he rejoined. He's made over 100 appearances in all competitions and he's won 3 trophies at the club, and that was the Europa League, the League Cup and the Charity Shield, During the summer, Pogba's agent Mini Raiola came out and said that Pogba wanted to stay, and he said he would hold talks over a new long-term contract. For the vast majority of last season, he was out because he had that ankle injury. But he could be involved in this game. Like I said, I'd keep Paul Pogba out of the team because analysing the vast majority of his career at Man United, he's been very, very inconsistent. Now, Bruno Fernandez, I think he'll keep his place in the team. Bruno Fernandez, like I said, was the one that scored the retaken penalty against West Brom. Again, Bruno Fernandez was our best player against West Brom. He's Manchester United's best signing, and he's our best player. You know, Bruno Fernandez has endured around 10 months or so now at the football club. Scored quite a lot of goals, but the vast majority of his goals have come from the penalty spot. Fernandez has got a contract with Man United until 2025. And we paid like €55 million for him from Sporting Lisbon back in January. €55 million equates to around 47 million in pounds sterling. But reflect on his good performances last season. He won Premier League Player of the Month twice, and he also won Sir Matt Busby Player of the Year award. Reports from Spain recently said that Real Madrid and Barcelona are interested in signing him at the end of the season. If things don't improve at Man United though, that will persuade Bruno Fernandez to leave the club, won't it? Bruno Fernandez did score against West Brom, but he also got away with one because he brought down Conor Gallagher. Could have given away a penalty. The referee did give the penalty to West Brom, but VAR had obviously intervened and overturned the decision. Now, I'd like to see Edinson Cavani start this game against Basaksehir, but I don't think he will, unfortunately. But he could be involved in the game. Cavani obviously didn't start against West Brom, but he did come on and made an impact. Don't forget, Cavani scored his first goal for the football club in our 3-1 win against Everton, and he almost scored with his first touch when he came on against Chelsea. When he came on against Chelsea, yeah. We got Edinson Cavani on the free transfer on deadline day, and he signed a 2-year contract with Man United worth around 220 grand a week. Or was it 230 grand a week? And he currently wears that number 7 shirt. But Cavani's not yet made his full Premier League debut for the club. But yeah, I think Anthony Martial will start instead of Edinson Cavani against Basaksehir. Martial hasn't been that good this season, but he has scored in our last 2 Champions League games. Don't forget, Anthony Martial had a 3-match suspension in the Premier League because he did get sent off in our 6-1 defeat to Tottenham. In reality, though, he shouldn't have been sent off. Martial was very, very good last season under Ole, and he was good in his debut season under the Louis van Gaal era. Martial's enjoyed a good 5 years or so at the club. Was it last season? We give him that number 9 shirt. Now, I'm expecting Marcus Rashford to keep his place in the team. He'll play against Basaksehir. He played, obviously, against West Brom. He wasn't too good against West Brom, to be honest. He did have a good chance, though, in the game. He didn't get many good runs in behind against West Brom, but in a lot of games this season, Marcus Rashford has been very, very consistent. He obviously scored a hat-trick against RB Leipzig, and he became the second Man United player to score a hat-trick as a substitute. Marcus Rashford scored a few goals in the league this season. He scored late on against Paris. That was the second time he'd done that. Rashford recently turned 23. He's been part of the club for several years. And I think he's more effective out wide than playing centrally, to be honest with you. To me, Rashford didn't look fully fit against West Brom because he recently had a shoulder problem, and reflecting on that, he missed England's game recently. Now, Mason Greenwood, he could be back for this game against Basaksehir. If he starts, he'll play on that right. Greenwood didn't play against West Brom because he has been out with illness. Ollie confirmed prior to the West Brom game that Mason Greenwood wasn't training for the last 9 days. Obviously, he's had quite a few issues this season. Obviously, he's had injuries. He's had obviously personal issues. Greenwood was withdrawn from the England under-21 squad. He was also withdrawn from the England squad earlier on in the season with Phil Foden. Solskjaer was talking about Greenwood prior to the West Brom game, and he says that he's enjoyed a fantastic year, and he's defending Mason Greenwood, and he says it will benefit him from taking a step back. Now, at the start of the season, we give Mason Greenwood that number 11 shirt. He's the 4th Manchester United player to wear the number 11 shirt. And Greenwood's got a contract with the football club until 2023. Now, Fred, I think he'll start this game. Fred's undroppable at the moment. Fred wasn't great though against West Brom. He's only had a couple of bad games this season as Fred. But he's really improved under the Solskjaer era. You know, he's showed good attacking intent. His defensive contributions been very, very good. We paid like £47 million for Fred from Shakhtar Donetsk a few years ago. Don't get me wrong, Fred was an absolute exceptional player when he was at Shakhtar Donetsk. Now, McTominay, he could possibly be involved. You know, he may even start. You know, if Pogba's not fit enough to start, then McTominay could start alongside Fred. But if Pogba's fit enough, it will be Pogba and Fred, I think. So McTominay could come on, but, you know, he may not start the game. But there again, McTominay didn't start against West Brom, but he obviously, you know, came off the bench. I have got element of concerns about Scott McTominay, to be quite honest with you, but he's enjoyed some good games as a Manchester United player. I don't see Matic starting this game against Basaksehir. He surprisingly started against West Brom yesterday. I didn't think he would have started. That was probably because Paul Pogba was out with injury. But there again, we could have started McTominay over Matic. Matic has actually lost his place in the team. He had some good games though towards the end of last season. Matic has enjoyed a good 3 years or so now at the football club. We got him for like £40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. Now, I expect Telles to start at left back. Telles made his Premier League debut against West Brom, and I thought he was very, very good. You know, he showed very, very good attacking intent, made some good overlapping runs. Defensively, though, I didn't really have nothing to do, so I can't give you a perception on that aspect, can I? If he plays Telles on Tuesday, it will be his second appearance in the Champions League for Man United and his third appearance in all competitions. I was very impressed with Telles against PSG as well. We got Telles for like 15.4 million. I think there was add-ons included, and Telles signed a 4-year contract with the football club. Now, I think Lindelof could be dropped in this one, and I think Tuanzebe could play ahead of him instead. Lindelof did play against West Brom, and I thought he was quite good, to be honest with you. He has improved at Man United, but I've still got some element of concerns about Lindelof. You know, he's obviously nowhere near on the same level as Harry Maguire. But yeah, I would start Tuanzebe in this one, to be honest with you. Tuanzebe has played a few games since he came back. Obviously, he was very, very good in the PSG game. You know, the way he dealt with Mbappe and Neymar. And that game against PSG was his first start for Man United in like 10 months. It was prior to the Chelsea game Solskjaer was talking about Axel Tuanzebe, and he challenged him to add consistency to ensure that he has a long career at Man United. But obviously Ollie's hopeful that Axel Tuanzebe remains injury-free, of course. So yeah, I think he'll come in for Lindelof. Maguire, he should keep his place in the team. Maguire has really, really impressed me recently. His distribution's been good. He's been very effective in the air. I think he's also been very dangerous from set pieces, and he's made some vital interceptions. Maguire did have early season troubles, didn't he? Because he had that incident in Greece before the start of the season. He also sustained a few knocks. He got sent off in England's 1-0 defeat to Denmark. Harry Maguire is our current captain. He's obviously the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment, because we got him in a deal worth £80 million. And Wan-Bissaka will keep his place at right back. And Wan-Bissaka's impressed me this season. He weren't great against West Brom though, because he too exposed on one-on-one situations. But in the games he's played well in this season, Basaksehir has showed good attacking intent and his defensive contributions being good. This is Anwan Bissaka's second season at Man United. We got him in a deal worth £50 million from Crystal Palace in the summer of 2019. Basaksehir is the foreseeable future, I think, for Manchester United. Now, I think David De Gea will remain in goal for this one. Don't forget though, Dean Henderson made his Champions League debut for the club against Istanbul Basaksehir in Turkey, that was. And he did quite well. Dean Henderson hasn't played yet in the Premier League this season for Manchester United. There's obviously rumours of Dean Henderson going out on loan in January. I think he wants to go out on loan in January because he wants to boost his chances of becoming England's number one in, the Euros this year. Oh, sorry, should I say next year, I mean. And there's a few clubs that are interested in Dean Henderson. Obviously, at the start of the season, Dean Henderson signed a 6-year contract with Man United worth 120 grand a week. I think at some point Dean Henderson will become our number one. He's got that experience behind him because, don't forget, he enjoyed 2 successful loans with Sheffield United. He's had loan spells with Stockport, Grimsby and Shrewsbury before. We got Dean Henderson at the age of 14, so he's been part of the club for several years. But yeah, De Gea will remain our number one this season. To be honest with you, I've been very, very impressed with De Gea this season. He's made some very, very good saves. He made 2 good saves against West Brom recently to deny Karlan Grant and Connor Townsend. But there's been a couple of games where David De Gea hasn't really had much to do. This is his 10th season at Man United, so he has been a long servant. Juan Mata, will he be involved in this game against Basaksehir? I don't see him starting. He did actually start against West Brom. Juan Mata has started quite a few games this season for Man United. He was very quiet against West Brom. No, he was obviously the one that won us the penalty. My element of concern about Juan Mata now, he has lost that yard of pace because he is in his 30s. He's had a good career though at Man United. He's enjoyed a good 6 years or so at the football club. We got Juan Mata for like £40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. And he scored over 50 goals for Man United in all competitions. Oh, sorry, it is 50 goals, not over 50 goals. Daniel James, I don't see him starting the game. Might not even be involved at all. Daniel James has actually lost his place in the team because he's actually been out of form. James has only played 5 games for Manchester United in all competitions this season. But despite his lack of playing time, Daniel James still says, he loves Manchester United. Odion Ighalo, now, he's not yet played in the Champions League for Man United, has he? I don't think anyway. Ighalo will leave Manchester United in January when his loan expires. The main explanation why we got him on deadline day in January was to get a cover up to Marcus Rashford, because at the time we got Odion Ighalo, Rashford was out with that back injury. Ighalo was our top goal scorer in the FA Cup last season. Now, we have got a few injuries, so we know Luke Shaw's not going to play any part against Basaksehir because he's out with a hamstring injury and he's out for up to a month. Eric Bailly, he's still out with injury, but he returned to training recently for the first time in a month, so too did Marcus Rojo. Jesse Lingard, he's still out. Phil Jones, he's still out. Had an operation not so long ago. As you know, Paul Pogba's recently sustained an ankle injury. So there you go. What formation do you think Solskjaer's going to go with? Probably the 4-2-3-1 formation. He has gone a lot with that formation since he got appointed in as Manchester United manager. But like the big games, he's gone with that 3-5-2 formation. So yeah, so that is your preview for this game. Now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is under pressure at Manchester United, despite the fact we've won our last 2 games in a row. I don't think he'll last at Manchester United. He definitely won't be Man United manager at the end of this season unless a miracle happens. Now, in the league, I think we are around 9th. And we know that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. We've enjoyed a very, very poor start to the Premier League season, but Woodward came out the other week and said that Man United remain absolutely committed to Solskjaer despite our poor start to the season. Now, obviously, there's been a lot of rumours of Mauricio Pochettino becoming the club's next manager. He's been the favourite to take over. Massimiliano Allegri, he's been on our agenda. Julian Nagelsmann, he's also been on our agenda. 2O Sport recently said that Roberto Mancini was on our agenda. Ollie's out of his depth, he really, really is. His team selections are questionable. And there's quite a few issues at the club he's got to solve, to save his job. Like I said, he's got to sort out the Paul Pogba issue. He's got to work out his best midfield. He's got to identify his best 11. He's got to select the right formation. He's obviously got to work out on what he's doing with Facundo Pellistri as well. Because Facundo Pellistri has not yet made his debut in the first team. And Solskjaer promised Facundo Pellistri that he would get first team opportunities when we signed him. Obviously, it hasn't happened. Facundo Pellistri's been playing for our under-23s. And if Solskjaer was still to be Man United manager in January, he's got to decide on what players he wants to recommend in, because Man United need more signings. He's also got to decide on what players he's going to get rid of next year. But I don't see him being Manchester United manager next year. I really, really don't. It won't really solve a lot if we sack Solskjaer, because not all of the blame stems from him. There's been problems at the club for several years. There's been problems with certain players. There's players at Manchester United now that are not good enough to represent the club. There's obviously been a lot of problems with the board for several years, because the board haven't backed any of our managers that we've had since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. But in a way I feel sorry for Solskjaer, because I think he's in a position that he shouldn't be in. I think Manchester United made a mistake by giving him the job permanently, but we're giving the job permanently reflecting on what he did in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. This is Ole Solskjaer's second full season at the football club. And he's managed over 100 games for Manchester United in all competitions. And he has got a contract with the football club until 2022. And if we decide to sack Solskjaer, it will cost the club only around £4 or £5 million to sack him. The main explanation why he's still Manchester United manager is because he's a club legend. Now, disregarding him being a club legend, he wouldn't have been here now. But with him being a club legend, our board have softened their stance on him. I said if we could finish in the top 4 this season, and if we could win a trophy, that would represent a very, very good season for Manchester United. It really, really would. But the way things are going, that's definitely not going to happen. And we've got tough games coming up. Southampton's the next game in the league. That's going to be tough because they've enjoyed a good start to the season. Then you've got PSG coming up, another hard game. Then West Ham, another difficult game. Then Leipzig, another difficult game. Then City, another difficult game. If we perform like we did against West Brom, you know, we won't win a lot of them games. We might not even win any. We should be beating Istanbul Basaksehir though on Tuesday, because they're a poor outfit from my perspective. They really, really are. But I've taken positives from Solskjaer's tenure, like I've already said. You know, he spent over £200 million since he became Man United manager, and he's enjoyed 4 transfer windows at the club. You know, we've seen a lot of players leave the club since he got recommended in. Solskjaer did well in his first full season, which was last season. He showed a lot of tactical flexibility in a lot of the big games. So these positives to take. And we've had some good periods under him. Ole, don't forget, is our 4th permanent manager since the Ferguson era, because we've sat 3 managers since the Ferguson era, and that was Moyes, Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. So anyway guys, that's everything to update with today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.